Alcaraz and Juan Carlos Ferrero split up, and
we got two major splits within the sport. Tennis, man. There's no other sport like it.
Yeah. Alcaraz is the man to make history here, to do all four major trophies at age 22.
It's the youngest career Grand Slam winner of all time.
5 hours, 27 minutes. Match point down, body cramping. Carlos Alcaraz should have lost. He won anyway. 48 hours later, same tournament, different opponent, onto Rod Laver Arena walked the greatest champion this court has ever produced. Novak Djokovic. 10 titles, 38 years old, a plan built from decades of experience. That plan worked flawlessly. First set, 6-2. Alcaraz looked broken. Then something shifted that nobody in that stadium could explain. 3 sets, 3 hours, gone. 6-2, 6-3, 7-5. When it was finally over, Djokovic, the man with 24 Grand Slams, stood across the net and called a 22-year-old legendary. On his own court, his own tournament, Khachanov said it differently. After Alcaraz ran through him earlier in 2026, 10 matches, 0 losses, the exhausted Russian looked across the net and begged, "You never get tired one time." Nobody has an answer, not Djokovic, not Zverev, not anyone ranked inside the top 10, right now. So what is actually happening out there? Because this isn't just elite tennis anymore. Something deeper is going on. Something the world's most respected tennis minds have only just found the words to explain.
I mean, he's on a legendary career already.
I think Alcaraz definitely got room for improvement.
It feels like we'd seen the end of that kind of Carlos Alcaraz.
They're going to look at Carlos and what he does and how he loves to be aggressive and move forward, because we lost a lot of that.
I mean, Alcaraz, I'm sorry, but this guy's amazing.
You're talking about a phenom like a Carlos Alcaraz.
Carlos Alcaraz!
Starting with something Alcaraz does before every single match. Not film study, not extra practice, not a motivational speech. He sits down and plays chess. Alcaraz's grandfather taught him chess as a young boy, growing up in Murcia, Spain. Most kids put the board away eventually. Alcaraz never did. Before major matches, while other players review opponent footage and run tactical drills, he is sitting across a chessboard, thinking, calculating, moving pieces. Asked about it by Vogue magazine, he didn't hesitate. "I love chess. Having to concentrate, to play against someone else, strategy, having to think ahead. I think all of that is very similar to the tennis court. You have to intuit where the other player is going to send the ball. You have to move ahead of time and try to do something that will make him uncomfortable."
Carlos's dad and Juan Carlos had a different vision. Some people think maybe they couldn't get a contract together, but Juan Carlos Ferrero also said, "Hey, I would love to continue." Alcaraz himself had a really nice post saying, "Look, basically, thank you for everything. You've been like a mentor to me and a coach since I was barely a teenager, and they've done all these amazing things together."
I think Carlos wins this match to be the youngest to have ever won all 4 slams.
Carlos, he's so good.
To Spanish outlet Marca, he went further. "It helps me be mentally faster, to see the plays, the moves I want to make. In chess, like in tennis, if you lose concentration for just a moment, the game is already mixed up." Chess.com recognized what was happening and built an entire AI bot modeled after his playing style. Active, aggressive, completely unpredictable. The same 3 words his opponents used to describe him on court. This is not a coincidence. Andre Agassi has watched tennis for 5 decades. 8 Grand Slams, Olympic gold, career Grand Slam. One of the sharpest analytical minds this sport has ever produced. When Agassi speaks about a player, really speaks, the entire tennis world stops. So what he said about Alcaraz didn't just turn heads, it redefined the conversation entirely. He's like a combination of all of them in one, Federer, Djokovic, Nadal. With the RPMs he can put on the ball, the defense, the touch. On movement specifically, Agassi delivered a line that has never been said about any modern player. He's like a flying saucer versus F-15S. Everybody's flying a plane, he's changing altitudes, reversing, and his speed doesn't diminish. Every elite player on tour slows down on grass. The surface demands caution. One wrong step, one moment of overcommitment, and your body slides out from under you. Not Alcaraz. He trusts his second push so completely. his ability to recover from any position, that he simply never stops accelerating.
Never seen a more explosive tennis player ever than Alcaraz, right? As athletes evolve, is it possible that someone in 15 years' time can be even more athletic than Alcaraz, or is he at the very, very top? I mean, I don't see how it's possible, but you said that 15, 20 years ago as well.
Yeah, you said that with Rafa too, right?
I don't see how it's possible.
Exactly. But his just pure explosion, his fast twitch, I would put up with any athlete in the world, period. It's just ridiculous.
Opponents spend entire matches hunting for the one ball that finally puts him on the back foot permanently. That ball doesn't exist. Then Agassi said something even more unsettling for the rest of the tour. He's still so raw. He has so much more upside from a standpoint of longevity. 7 Grand Slams. Youngest career Grand Slam in history. 12-0 to start 2026. According to the man who has seen everything tennis has to offer, he hasn't even peaked yet.
Walked into the conversation with the best of all time. There's only so many people on earth that can walk around and say to any Grand Slam venue and be like, oh, I won here too. The youngest to have ever done it by a couple of years, edging out Rafa. And then after Rafa, it jumps too. It's not as if there's like Rafa and then there's like 3 people close like within a year. How lucky is tennis that after the big 3, big 4, you have this guy whose game you can't take your eyes off of.
And he becomes the first man in the Open era to win each slam.
It's been working great. There's no doubt about that. But you know who has a problem with it? The guy who served that it looks like Novak.
Yeah, I hear that. I have the contract over there, but I haven't seen him yet. So.
Mats Wilander won 7 Grand Slams across 3 different surfaces. Decades spent breaking down the finest details of elite tennis as an analyst and commentator. After Melbourne, Wilander chose 4 words carefully. He is on another level. Not a different level, another level entirely. The game itself has changed. Faster, harder, with less margin for error than any previous era. Inside that brutal new version of tennis, Alcaraz is not just keeping up, he is setting the pace for everyone else to chase. Andy Roddick delivered the clearest verdict after the 2026 Australian Open. Carlos Alcaraz is now squarely in the company of Edberg, Becker, Wilander, Lendl, Connors, McEnroe, Agassi at 22 years old. 22 years old, sitting alongside the greatest names the sport has ever produced, with the season barely started. Here is what makes it truly unsettling for anyone standing across the net. Medvedev, the most tactically precise player on tour, has spoken about how no neutral ball exists against Alcaraz. Every shot designed to reset the rally, every ball meant to buy time and recalibrate, he converts it into pressure. Neutrality requires a moment to breathe. Alcaraz does not give opponents that moment, ever. Djokovic felt it directly in the 2026 final. Down a set, having executed his plan flawlessly, Alcaraz didn't panic, didn't call the trainer, didn't change his body language by a single degree. Silently recalibrating mid-match, he won 3 sets in a row, each more dominant than the last.
Carlos Alcaraz, a win in just 50 minutes.
To thank Novak, because he's pushing the ceiling higher and higher and putting the bar up higher and higher. At 38, I mean, Carlos Alcaraz is such an unbelievable athlete that I would assume that he could be playing for at least another 15 years. And if he is, he'll be at the top because he's so talented. His knowledge of the game and the knowledge of tactics already at his...
A 10-time champion on his favorite court, dismantled without so much as a visible adjustment from the other side of the net. Zverev's experience was different but equally brutal. 5 hours and 27 minutes. Match point in hand, 5th set, 5-3 up. Statistically, historically, physically, that match was over. Alcaraz looked at that deficit and found something nobody else in the stadium could see: a path. Clawed back, won the set, won the match, walked off court looking less exhausted than the man who nearly beat him. 48 hours later, he beat Djokovic in straight sets. Consider what that means physically. Consider what that means mentally.
Well, it was really close on that match, I'd say. In the first set, I just had few break points that I couldn't make it, one set ball that I didn't make it.
It's the biggest victory of his career for sure, in my eyes. To be able to complete the career Grand Slam at 22 is absolutely incredible.
I think he's playing like Federer.
It's the biggest victory of his career for sure.
No, I'm hungry.
If player and coach aren't getting along, that's what happens.
Through the cramping, the match points, the 5-hour battles, he never once looked troubled in his own mind. That is the chess player. Calm because he has already seen the next 3 moves. Unbothered because panic was never part of the calculation. December 2025. After 7 Grand Slams, after the greatest single season in modern men's tennis, 71 wins, 2 majors, 8 titles, 9 consecutive finals, Alcaraz fired Juan Carlos Ferrero, the coach who had been with him since he was 15, the man who built everything. Most players would collapse without that anchor. Alcaraz went 12-0 to start 2026. Before Melbourne, he said, "I need to add new weapons to stay ahead." Already world number 1. Already the youngest career Grand Slam winner in history. Already being called legendary by the man he just defeated. Still searching for new weapons. That is the most terrifying sentence in tennis right now. Wilander put the challenge facing every opponent perfectly. Study Sinner's game and a blueprint exists to compete with it. His consistency, his early ball striking, his defensive lockdown can all be mapped and prepared for. Alcaraz cannot be mapped. His game is not a system, not a method. It shifts mid-rally, mid-set, mid-match, driven not by tactical calculation, but by instinct sharpened on a chessboard since childhood. By the time an opponent identifies the pattern and begins to react, Alcaraz has already responded to the response that hasn't happened yet. That is not a metaphor. That is literally what is happening on court. 7 Grand Slams, 22 years old, 12 wins from 12 in 2026. A new coach, new weapons. Every expert who has watched him up close says the same thing. He hasn't even peaked yet. Djokovic called it legendary. Agassi called it a flying saucer. Wilander called it another level. Kachanov just begged him to get tired once. Nobody has figured out how to stop it. Not yet. So here's the question the entire tennis world is arguing about right now. Can anyone beat Carlos Alcaraz in 2026? And if yes, who and how? Drop your answer in the comments right now, because this debate has no easy answer, and we want to know exactly what you think.